Hello, I'm Darlene, and welcome to our new series, Live Your Dream. Our hope is that through this series, we'll provide you with nuggets that will help you lead your best life, both personally and professionally. In today's segment, we'll talk to Human Resources Executive Dawn Myers, who will offer us some simple but smart tips on how to best lead our team through this virtual world. Dawn, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me. This is an exciting topic, and I think it's going to be great for anyone to hear about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we are in such interesting times, aren't we? My goodness.
It really is. And I think so many times when I talk to people, they're looking for the new normal. And, it really is about a journey that you're taking with your employees, with your families. There really is never a normal. So how do you just continually being adapting, not waiting for something and then saying, okay, now I can adapt once.
Exactly. And I would think that whether you are a business owner or you're a manager, engaging your employees now and allowing them to feel welcomed and included, it's so critical right now. And so that's what I wanted to ask you about, because I know that you've been an HR expert, right, for years. This is your
years.
Yes.
We don't need to mention the years, but
So I have a few questions here. My first question is, how best can leaders manage their remote employees and keep them motivated? Because that's a big thing that, we're all working virtually. A lot of employees are saying they just do not feel engaged at all. So what are some tips that you can offer?
Well, I think the first thing is, and it's true, and even if your employees aren't remote, it's to set clear expectations. Brene Brown says, clear is kind. And I like to quote that because so many people feel like if they put their expectations out there, if they detail it out, that it's being too direct or it's going overboard. And I think it's important to set expectations. On the other hand, you want to be sure that you're not micromanaging, because employees are quote unquote out of your sight. Mm-hmm. And so I think that if you do that, set your expectations, put them even in writing so that employees have something to go back to. And then make sure that you're setting regular one-on-one meetings and really engaging with each one of your employees, not just as a whole, which is important to have meetings, but I think that only have meetings when it's really important, not a meeting for the sake of a meeting, especially because everybody's so much on Zoom or GoToMeeting these days. And I think if those things are done, and then set aside that time to really get to know your employees and engage them, I think that will go a long way.
Yeah, and you know what, as you're saying this all seems so simple, but yet it's things that I think a lot of managers, employers, they just tend to overlook. Because let's face it, this virtual world is very new for many of us. A lot of us are not used to this. It's a whole new thing, right? And so it is very easy to just kind of overlook just those real small things that you've said, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you just said a few seconds ago, keeping them engaged, keeping in touch with them on a regular basis. I mean, I can tell you, for myself, the day goes by so quickly, and then I realize, wow, I have not talked to our team all day, and here it is already 4:30.
Right. And you can even on those busiest of days, you can do fun things to engage or encourage your employees. Use technology, for instance, and use your even email to, I will, on my really busy days or really stressful days that I know my team is a bit overwhelmed, I just send a funny meme to them that just is something silly, something ridiculous, but it gets everybody kind of out of that mindset of, we're working, we've got to keep pushing through, and just gives a break. And then people start bantering back and forth or sending pictures back and forth. And then there's that fun engagement that way. It doesn't have to be all so serious.
Right. That's a good point. So, and it sounds like what you're saying is it doesn't have to be this real organized things, just the little things, right?
Right.
Is
Right.
is what matters. So very good, very good. Obviously, we do team building and all. What's your take on that? I mean, is that really necessary during these times? And how often do you want to organize like a virtual team building activity?
Right. Right. I think it depends on your team. But I think it's always important. Team building. And again, I think it's being highlighted right now because of being in the remote world, as far as um, making sure you're engaging with your team and doing those things. But I think team building is important regardless, whether it's in person or in the remote world. But even more so now that we're in the remote world. So yes, absolutely, team building activities. You can host cooking classes, different fun things, play games. There are different games that could be interactive, icebreakers that can be, which I know that you all do quite a few of, which just brings everybody out of that work mindset and into a personal mindset, because many times I think leaders think they are leading an organization, not leading people. And the people get left out. And people just want, do you see me? Do you hear me? Do you care?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can answer those three things, it's a dynamic change in the workforce. If you're going to take a little time out from the workday and do some team building, find out about your employees, and then remember those things and engage with them and care about them, as well as being transparent yourself with being open about who you are and what maybe your struggles are, so that people don't think, well, there's this lofty person here. I can't talk to them about my concerns.
Exactly. These are good points, good points. One thing that I have noticed from many of our clients actually, is that when we do the team building, it's not just the employees. They're now saying, hey, we want the employees to feel free to bring in their spouse or their family. So they're opening it up. Is this a trend that you're seeing?
I love the idea. I think it's brand new, but I believe that savvy leaders are recognizing it isn't just the employee, it's the whole person, which involves their family, which involves, I had a great mentor in a hotelier, Jim Durbin, and he used to always take time to thank our family members for the sacrifice that we've made in work. And that went larger than anything that could have been said to me. He would send notes home to family members saying, so and so did a terrific job in this, and I just wanted to recognize them, and I know they probably won't tell you themselves, so I want to tell you. And what a boost employees would get from that. And I've taken that on now myself. I just didn't want to take credit for it. But it's a great thing to get a personal note, either yourself or a family member, from one of those that are leading you. It means so much more than an email, even though it's such a simple thing. It's just a little handwritten note that can go a long way.
That's great. And I think that your employees are going to remember that, right?
Oh, yeah.
It goes a long way. Yeah.
Right. When I started it just with employees, I thought, well, this isn't a big deal. I'm just going to, in fact, I did it during long meetings. I would just write these cards out thinking I'm taking up some time, right? And I realized when I'd walk around and see people's bulletin boards or desks, they had those cards displayed. So they meant so much to them that they kept them, which I thought was great.
That's wonderful. Wow. Like I said, all those little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say, in your opinion, what are today's employees looking for from their employers, regardless of whether they're working remotely or not?
Right. I think that they want a positive culture with core values. They want to know the place that they're working for, and the people that they're working with have a clear mission and clear values that are stated and lived. I think they want present and trusted leadership. So leaders that they know they're going to do what they say they're going to do and follow through on that and be present, not just lead from a lofty tower where they don't really know what's going on, and what their employees, remote or not, are dealing with. And then having a voice that's listened to and responded to.
Yeah, that is so important. It sounds like, when I'm listening to you, it sounds like be transparent, right?
Absolutely.
Be honest. And I also think it is okay for what do you think, for a leader to say, I don't know.
I have been known to say that many times. Right. I don't know, but we're going to figure this out together, and we'll get through it, or I'll find someone who does know. And I think that builds trust. When people start coming to you more and more, you realize, oh, it's because they trust me, and that's humbling, because then I have an obligation to uphold that trust. And one thing I tell clients all the time is that when they say, how should I deal with this employee? And the first thing I ask is, well, how would you want to be dealt with? If you were in that situation, if you were working remotely, if you were feeling isolated at times, how would you want to be treated? What would you want? And start there.
That's great. And again, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. It sounds so simple, but that is so true. You treat others the way you want to be treated, and I think that, again, with everything that's going on in the world, it's so easy to get distracted, to feel stressed, and you forget about just those basic human needs. But it really is, just treat others the way you want to be treated. So, wow.
I think it needs to be scheduled into leaders' calendars of, just like maybe a P&L review or a corporate meeting or whatever. That employee engagement really needs to be scheduled in those ways that you can keep that moving. Studies have shown, the State of Global Workforce has just did a recent study, and it's shown that 34% of employees' annual salaries are wasted on employee disengagement. So when you think that's $3,400 for every $10,000 someone makes, when you can put it into that context, well, it should be the first thing on our calendars.
Absolutely. But often, sadly, it is not.
Right. Yeah. It goes to if it's on the calendar at all, it goes to the end, and it's like, oh, well, I don't have any more time. And your people, as I said before, many leaders think that they're running an organization, but they're really leading people. The people are running the organization.
Ooh, good point. Wow, that's a good point. Something to definitely remember. Well, this has been great. I know that, thank you for being our first guest.
I'm so excited about it.
I know, you kicked it off, but you will be back, because we've been talking about so many different topics. And the thing about human resources is there's so many different topics to cover. And you are a woman of much information. So we're definitely going to be having you back.
Happy to do it.
Yes. And so what I wanted to say, if any of you want to reach out to Dawn directly, I would definitely do that if you have any questions. So we're showing her information on the full screen here, but it's Dawn E. Myers, HR@gmail.com. But you definitely will be back. And I know you're running your own business here in San Diego. And so this is great. Thank you again for joining us, Dawn.
Thank you. I look forward to the next time. Reach out to me, everyone. I look forward to hearing from you.
Fantastic. Thank you.